Hi everyone, welcome to my channel for restorative games. My name is Florian and I decided I would try a new experiment. I'm going to make a game from A to Z and I'm going to document and record everything. So I'm just going to start from a concept. I'm going to do some project management and then I'll just think my way through and try to think out loud as I'm doing everything. So first I'm going to use this tool called Trello. Which is a decent way to do project management. It's not the most powerful, but it's fairly easy to use and it's free. So I'm going to make a new account. It's my restorative games account, which I've not used on Trello before. Create an account. Do you want to? Okay, I don't know why, but I should have said yes. My bad. Okay, create your account. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna skip tutorials because I've used it before. I'm gonna skip this too, skip everything. And this is not a course on Trello. I just want, I'm not gonna use the paid version either, so I'm gonna create a new workspace. And I need to remember how to do that. Create, I don't want to create a board, I want to create a new workspace. Current workspace, yeah. See, like I'm doing, you're showing how I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know, it won't let me create a new workspace. Well, let's use this one then. Oh, there you go. I can probably create members. Okay, I'm just gonna rename this workspace. So the game I want to make will be a game, I think I'm gonna call it something like, I don't know, tell your best joke. Tell your best joke. It's a working name, it's not critical what you name it. It's good to have a working title, so I'm gonna use this. So the way it works, so inside the workspace you make boards, and inside boards you have different lists, and in each list you have like post-it notes. They call them cards, I believe. So yeah, a typical one where we put the list of things we need to do, and then we move them to doing, and then when we're done with them, we move them to done. That's a good way to keep track of what we still have to do and what we should be focusing on. Because it's really easy when you make a game, you get distracted, you have an idea, you start implementing it, and then you say like, oh, I should also do this, and you go do it, and then you forget the first thing you did, or you have 5 ideas, but you can only work on one, so you might forget 2 of the other 4. So yeah, that's a really good practice, I think, to just, each time you think, oh, I also want to do this, don't start doing it now, just add it to the list. So for this board, let's say, maybe I can rename the board itself. I'm going to call it concept. Maybe. I'm going to delete these lists, archive, good enough. Concept. So I'm going to kind of like remove, even going to delete. I'm going to rename this. Okay, brainstorming. So I'm going to write a bit about what's my idea here. So the idea would be that you have a world where 2 people can do some kind of joke contest. So there is a 1-minute timer. So 1-minute timer. 2 people sit on a chair. They have a minute to each tell jokes. So they will share that minute. And at the end, they are kicked out of their chair so that other people can sign up to be the next one to tell a joke. And people outside the chairs area outside, can give a point to those who told a good joke. Okay, and then I might want yeah, and then try to make the outside area fun. Like, so if people are not really participating, they might still, I don't know, have fun with other things. So make the outside play area fun. That's kind of the gist of what I'd like to do. So it's going to be a game for 2 players. Let's see. So I think I can actually convert this. A good way to convert this to actually tasks. Make a checklist, and I'm going to move these all to checklists. So 1 minute timer will be a checklist item. Don't share. 1 minute to joke. And you'll see in a second why I'm doing this, assuming I'm not wrong about this. So, right, I can convert to card. So here I'm gonna do like, I'm gonna do features. So the game will have features, and each feature is not necessarily a task. Then I will have another list of tasks to do, and then in progress, blocked for any reason, or on hold maybe, and done, yes. Or I could also do like in testing. I probably will test as I go because I'm just on my own here. Okay. So let's see if it works. 1 minute timer, I'm gonna convert that to a card. Yeah, that worked. Okay, cool. So now I have a card saying like I have a 1 minute timer in my game. So that's a feature. 2 people on a chair. I can also convert, basically I'm gonna convert everything to cards now. So this was just my brainstorming. I probably don't need it anymore. But then I have my features, and for each feature, I might want to detail it a little more. So the fact that they have 1 minute to tell a joke, whether people actually tell jokes or say whatever they want, I don't have control over that. What I have control over is like, I can make people, maybe they can sign up to be the next one to tell a joke, and they will go to the end of the queue, basically. Okay, so let's see. So basically it would be maybe one feature would be, sign up to enter chairs area. So players press a button to sign up. Then they are added to a queue. The first 2 in the queue are teleported onto the chairs. What else? And again, maybe I should make it a checklist. Maybe I should just start from a checklist. So I'm just going to copy paste this. So add an item here, okay. Add it to the queue. And the first 2 in the queue, and I'm going to delete this to make it clean. Okay, so they press a button to sign up, they're added to a queue. Okay, so the queue proceeds every minute, or it proceeds based on timers, maybe several timers. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna launch UEFN already and start setting up a level. Yeah. So I guess in the beginning, yeah, I need to implement a queue system so that I need to know Maybe I need a device that manages this chair area, like a chair area manager. That checks the queue, handles timers. Yeah. And then I will need a vote manager. I'm calling them manager because in Fortnite, usually you create your own devices. They're called Fortnite devices. They're like gameplay elements that do things in your game, that can manage things, for instance. So the vote manager will collect votes, or will manage people giving a point to joke tellers, let's call them. And so basically I should probably have a thing where like people are teleporting to the chair area, they have 1 minute, and then they're kicked out. And then there's like a 10-second buffer so that people can vote. So a second timer basically. And then the 2 people who are next in queue are teleported in. Yeah. Okay. So I will need to build a chair area manager, so that's its own card. That will be its own card as well. This is probably a little messy, but you know. Okay, so let's create a new project. I'm gonna start from blank. I'm gonna name my project, I don't know, Devlogs. I created my own team because I have different accounts. Sometimes I use my laptop with my desktop to test games. Definitely want to use revision control. That's kind of how I will be able also to work on the project from different computers. Okay, so I'm creating this empty project. Okay, already has 2 spawners, probably want more. So there's a chair device, which actually I have never used. Chair device. And what can we do with that device? Oh, one thing I like to do too is like I take everything that comes, except the chair I just added, but everything that comes with a blank level, and I say I right click, move to create new folder, start with A so that it's at the top of the list, and I call it boring because it's stuff I don't care about, except maybe for the spawners and island settings. So I'm going to create a new folder, B game config, which is like basic game configuration elements like this. Okay, all of this is like the floor. I don't really care about that right now. Also, I'm going to, let's see, I might want to save that map. I'm going to create prototype. And then I'm going to save my level as prototype and call it prototype 1. Because right now I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just trying things out. And who knows, I may have to change a lot of things and it might get messy. So that's just the model, okay. Why not? I don't care about interacting with it. Advanced. Yeah, I don't care about interaction. Anybody can activate. Any class is allowed. I think we'll see what happens. Maybe I need to change that later. Player exit enabled. So no, they cannot. I don't want the player to exit the chair on their own. They will be stuck to the chair. Player seated audio. What's that? Why not? I'm not going to interact, so I don't care about this. Dismount. I'm going to teleport the players anyway. Dismount force. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Okay. Okay, function. So I can seat a player and eject a player, and I'm interested in that. So for now, to test, because I've never used this, let's put some buttons at least one button here, and I'm going to call it button queue up, for instance. So when people queue up to go to the chair, they will press that button. So I'm gonna, there should be a text, interaction text. I'm gonna say queue up. And so right now what I'm gonna do is when I'm gonna seat the player when we press the button queue up, just for me to test, to confirm that it works the way I think it works. And then I want the player to be able to get out right now just for testing. So I'm gonna add a button. Let's see. So it's gonna be like get out of the chair. Which button do I want to use for this? Maybe Q on my keyboard, which is this shortcut. So yeah, that should do it. And so what I want to do, here by default, I think every player will have this control, this input. So what I'll do is, yeah, the chair will eject the player when the input is pressed. Okay. So if I just launch a session with this, I should have a game. So yeah, register level. I should have a game where I can press a button to be seated in the chair by pressing the button on side. This one, a button device, and then by pressing Q on the keyboard, that should eject me from the chair. And so it asked me to register the map because in the game feature data file, which you find at the root of your content folder, there's a default map and then other maps. So by registering it, it was added to this array of maps, this list of maps. But since for a while I'm going to work on this prototype map, I'm going to change the default level, default map to this. Okay. Fortnite will take its sweet time to load. So what else do we need to kind of show, just for my visuals? I'm going to place a cube. I'm going to resize it only on the X and Y. Let's say maybe 10 on X and 5 on Y. Bring it down a bit. And then I'm going to move the chair up and press End, the End key on my keyboard, to make it go down until it collides with something. Put one here and then put the second chair like this. Okay. I could maybe put a barrier device so that, and I'm going to connect it to the cube I just made. Okay, and reset its location. Okay. And I'm going to make it a little longer. Let's see. No, the other one. Oops, sorry. 1 and 2. Okay, that's pretty good. And it's going to be a hollow box. I hope it will work. The goal here is that players would not be able to enter the room and also not leave the room, but they could exist inside the room because they would be stuck there for 1 minute. Which means I'm going to need timers. Okay. And so I'm not doing it very properly here. What I should do is also, anytime I think of, oh, I need to do this or that, I should add it to the list, either the feature or the card. But right now, I'm just thinking of the basics of the game. But as I develop, I might be like, oh, and I need this feature and that feature for whatever reasons. Yeah, so I guess I don't want, if there's only one player for some reason that's queued up, I don't want the one player to be stuck in the room forever. So when one player, yeah, so what do I do when a player joins late, for instance? Let's say the queue has is empty, so nobody wants to go in. One player queues up. I should probably not, even though the queue is empty, I should probably not let them in yet. I should wait until I have at least 2 players in the queue. Maybe that's part of the manager, the chair area manager, the checklist here. So players will only be seated when there are at least 2 in the queue. Okay. And then if a player leaves during the 1 minute, that's okay. The minute is the player who's still in can still tell a joke and get points potentially. If they both leave, then we can just wait for the 1 minute to elapse anyway. That's not a big deal yet. That's little quality of life things that maybe I would add later, but not for now. I want to make a working prototype that is simple but works, where the core features are working. So they'll be only seated if there are at least 2 in the queue. Any one seated will be ejected after 1 minute. So maybe then have 10 seconds timer for people to vote. Then get the players out of the box, the jokers, out of the room, if you will, or out of jail, and then next 2 players in queue go in, assuming at least 2 players are in queue. Or potentially 1 person could go in, tell a joke, even if they're alone, and they could get points or not. So yeah, maybe I don't need to wait until there are 2 people in the queue. If there are 2 or more, then I teleport the first 2 inside the box. I don't know, but then it's not really, people can tell jokes anyway, you know, they'll be free to speak with their mic. So yeah, maybe it makes sense to have 2 people, because it's a joke contest. Okay. Yeah, Fortnite has loaded. Okay, so I'm in edit mode. That's strange. Start game. Okay, so when I press this, I'm in the chair. And I press Q, I'm out of the chair. Oh, Q also brings up the build mode. I need to remove that. And yeah, I cannot escape. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. Cool. And I cannot go back on the chair. I can only press Q, which doesn't do anything anymore because I'm not in the chair anymore. Cool. Okay, should I have a button inside so that players can escape if for any reason they really want to? Why not? No. No, I should keep them stuck inside because I want people to see them and vote for them. Okay. Okay. So I only want people to be seated if there are at least 2 in the queue. Anyone seated will be ejected after 1 minute. Ejected from the chair, but not ejected from their chair. And then 10-second timer, then they're teleported out. Then maybe another quick timer. Short intermission timer, like 5 seconds. Something real quick, and reorder this. Okay. And then, yeah, okay. Is that it? Is that really my whole game here? For the chairs, then we still have the voting aspect. Okay. So the vote manager, get the checklist here. So vote manager detects when players are seated. while they are seated, each of them have a button that people can press to give them 1 point. Make sure the same person does not vote more than once for the same job session. So maybe I will need to track who has voted in job session. And then at the end of voting period, so basically people could vote during the first minute that players are seated, and also during the 10 seconds of the voting period. They can vote early if they want to. So at the end of the voting period, the tracking of who has voted is wiped out. Okay, so that people can vote again for the next job session. Okay, and then each vote adds 1 point to player. And I guess I can just use the score manager. That's a device in Fortnite, because I can make it so that it saves points over rounds, over games. It should work. I have to test. Like everything, we have to test everything. Okay. So the vote manager will be informed maybe with an event, will be triggered when players are seated and the 1 minute timer starts, basically. Starts. So during that time, so then there's a time for which we listen to people voting. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to clean up my list of features here. Okay, add it to a queue. So okay, players press a button to be added to the queue. That's in the beginning. So this, I think I don't have the queue posted on timer. Okay, I can remove that. At the end, I got kicked out of the chair. We know that. I think I put it here. Yeah, ejected from the chair. Yeah, they can give a point, we know that. We can move this to be posted on the chair, okay. 1 minute timer, I know that. These were more like brainstorming than features, I guess. Make the outside play area fun, okay, that's a feature for later. And they have 1 minute to tell jokes, we know that, okay. So I'm gonna probably work on the chair area manager first, so I'm gonna break it down into tasks. Maybe, yeah, let's say their tasks. Okay, convert to card. I wonder if I press, oh no, never mind, my bad. Convert to card, okay. So this is still a feature, but the cards are here. Okay. So this is based on having a queue manager, and right now I don't have one. So let's create one then. Inverse, add new file, first device. I'm gonna call it queue, yeah, queue manager device. Create empty, because I'm hardcore like this, but I'm gonna document everything. It's gonna open Visual Studio Code. It's in a different window. Let's bring it here. Yeah. So what are we gonna write here? So first we're gonna create this device, which is a class, a subclass of a creative device. So we need to give it a name. I'm gonna give it the name of QManager device, which matches the name of the file. I don't have to, but it makes things simpler, and it's a class. That's how you write it. So that would be a legit way to write a class, but it's not just a class. It's not an empty class. It's a class that inherits from the creative device class. But right now, Verse like, I don't know what a creative device is, so I need to write this to say we import basically the code from fortnite.com/devices, which gives us definitions of creative device, among other things. So now we have a creative device. So my queue manager, what do I need to do? I need to have a queue. Let's call it queue. It can be a variable because you can change it. And this queue will be an array. And I guess it should be an array of agents, which is how you write this. So here I'm saying, okay, why is it not happy? All right, because I need to add something else. Verse.org/simulation. That's these two lines are, you will have them in 99% of your devices. Okay, so an agent is basically, it can be a player, it can be an AI, it's anything that has agency. That's why it's called agent. So here we say I don't want to store, this is a type. So instead of just being a variable of type agent, where I could store just one agent, it's an array, which means it's a block of memory that will contain multiple agents instead of just one. But to initialize it, we say, okay, why not just an empty array? And that's how we do it. So, like any creative device, there's a function called onBegin, and I need to write override here like this because I'm overriding an existing function from the parent class. The parent class being creative device. It's a function, so it has parentheses. If we had arguments or parameters, they would go inside the parentheses, but onBegin does not have parameters. And I need to write suspense here because onBegin is a function that it's called an asynchronous function. It's a function that might not necessarily complete right away. It could take time to complete, as opposed to traditional functions which would block everything else until they are finished. And then I need to give it a type, and since it will not return anything, it's of type void. And then I write equal, new line, and then I'm indented. I'm like 8 spaces from the edge, which means that all my code that is indented here will be part of the onBegin function. So what I need to do here, I need to know, so I need to have a button. So first, let's add a button, queue button, or let's call it button queue up of type button device. So button device is another one of the devices in Fortnite, which I already use anyway, and I'm initializing it to just some default button device. I want to be able to pick the actual button I use inside the editor, so I need to mark it as editable. Just to compile and to show you, I'm just going to write this. This makes Verse believe that I have code here, even though it's basically empty code, it doesn't do anything. Now I go back to UEFN and I do build Verse code. So it compiles the code I made. And if I go to my content folder here, I will find my device, QManager device. And I can drag it into my world. And it's called QManager device. And it has one property that I can edit, which is button queue up. And I can select a button, and I have one. That's awesome. Right now, this button is connected to this chair, and I don't want that. I'm going to remove this. And I'm also going to remove this because I tested it works. I might keep this. I don't know, I'm not going to delete this yet. So this is still my queue up button, so that's good. Everybody can use it to queue up. But in my code, I need to know when someone interacts with it. So that button queueUp has an event called interacted with event. And I can subscribe to that event, and when that event is triggered, I need a function will be called. I'm going to say on queueUp pressed. That's a name that I chose. I could name it anything I want, but that's my choice. So here I am defining a new function now. We know it's a function because parentheses, and it needs to return something, which in this case would be nothing, void. I'm gonna write blog so that it's happy, but it's not quite happy yet because on queueUp is an event that sends some information along with the event. In this case, which is very common in Fortnite devices, it will send an agent. So it sends something of type agent, and since that's something, I will probably want to use it in my code. I'm going to give it a name. I have to give it a name anyway. And I like to give the name in agent so that I know that it's the parameters of the function. But I could just call it agent with capital A if I want to. I cannot call it agent because agent with a lowercase a is actually a keyword inverse the name of the type. So I'm not allowed to use it. But I like in agent personally. So when what I need to do here? Basically, I also don't want people to be able to queue up. Well, I guess I could actually. Yeah, if multiple people queue up, then it's fine. Okay. So what I need to do is basically I want to add queue. So that's my variable of type array. I want to make it equal to whatever is already exists in this array plus, and the plus sign here will just add a new element to the array. So an array element which contains an agent. So basically, yeah, that's kind of it. Each time a player presses this button, their agent, so themselves in a way, them as a player, is added to that queue. So that's cool. Then I guess we need the timer. Let's see, timer for joke telling, I'm gonna call it. So it's gonna be a timer device. So let me go back to UFN. Control Shift and B will compile the code. That's the exact same thing as going to verse and then build verse code. Control Shift B. And then if I click on my device, you can see there's a field to add a timer. So I can add this timer, and I like to make the name match. So I'm going to call it timer joke device. So what does this timer do? This timer will count down from, maybe I want to have it in the background so that people can see it. And they're outside the room. I'll figure out the aesthetics later. Right now I just want to make something functional. So the timer, yeah, will go down from a minute. Let's see. When the timer is running, let's say listen to the jokes. And assuming that people are telling jokes. And let's see, so I need to know when the timer ends, because then I will need another timer. Let's duplicate this one, call it timer voting. And I'm gonna say make sure you vote. And this one will be a 10-second timer. Okay. And when it's done, we may have one more intermission timer. I'm gonna call it timer intermission. Just for like 5 seconds, something short. For testing purposes, I'm going to make this one 30 seconds or even 20 seconds because I don't want to wait forever when I test. Yeah. Let's go back to here. Okay. So player press a button to be added to the queue. Did I do that? I guess yes. There is one button here. Anybody can interact with it. And if they do, they get queued up. So that feels done. You know what? The on hold, I'll put it there. Yeah. Okay. Player will be seated when there are at least 2 in the queue. Why not do that? So maybe each time, maybe I should have an event so that anytime someone is added to the queue, I fire this event. And then when this event is fired, I can say, okay, should I do something about it or not? So I'm going to say player entered queue events. That's going to be the name of my event. It's an event. I could write any type of information we want to pass along, but right now I'm not sure I need any. Okay, and I initialize it to an empty event. And so when someone presses that button and is added to the queue, I'm gonna signal. That's how I'm signaling, saying, hey, this event has been triggered. So maybe I need a function called listen to queue, and that function should be a asynchronous function. So listen to queue, suspense, because it will not execute right away, it will be waiting for things to happen. So it will be waiting again and again, so it will be in a loop. What it will do, it will wait, it will wait for that event. And so when this event happens, then it will check stuff. So what do we want to check? We want to check, is the queue at least, do we have at least 2 players in the queue? That's easy. If queue.length, because it's an array, it has a property called length, is queue, I guess if it's greater than 1, it means that it's at least 2, or I can say greater or equal to 2, same thing. So if it's greater than 2, then we need to, guess let's make a new function that would be like get first. Wait, we need to do it only if it's time to get players in. Like, we cannot do it if the countdown is running. Okay, so we're listening to the queue. If the queue is at least 2, then we could take the first 2 people in that queue and do something. Else, if we don't have 2 people in the queue, well, then we don't do anything, right? We just wait, we just loop again and wait again. Okay, so we don't need the else. Then I would say, so I need to access my chair because I need to make the first 2 players sit in the chair. So for this, we need chair 1 and chair 2 basically. Chair, maybe chair A and chair B, or chair 1 and chair 2? No, chair A, chair device. Okay. And the second thing, this time chair B. Okay. I'm gonna go here, compile to save, sure. And here I have chair A and chair B. I'm gonna rename them so that matches chair A and chair B. Okay. So chair A is assigned to chair A, chair B to chair B. Perfect. So now If we know we have at least 2 agents, I want to send the first one to chair A and the second one to chair B, and then we move both of them from the queue. What's the best way to do this? So we're gonna need to reconstruct a new array that contains everybody in the array except the first 2. So maybe I'm trying just to think of what is the smartest way to do it. Maybe I'll just do it a dumb way to do it. Maybe a more simple way to do it at first, maybe later I will change it. So let's say that we're gonna collect agent A and agent B, which are going to be the first 2, and send them to chair A and B, and then we move them from the queue. Let's do that. Okay, so it needs to be in a failure context inside an if statement. So if agent A of type agent equals q of 0, q of 0 is the first element, and agent B type agent equals q of 1. So assuming that's the case, then we're going to loop I need to elements of an array. It's not a good name, but whatever. We're going to create a new array that will store an array of type agent array. Then we're going to loop through each element of our array called Q, and if element, which would be an agent, you know what, let's call it agent. If agent is different from agent A and agent is different from agent B, because we don't want to keep these guys in the loop, we want to get them out. But assuming that they're neither A or B, then we're going to add them to our new queue. Set new array plus equal that the same way agent. So array that contains agent. Okay. This is exactly the same as doing equal new array plus like this. Okay. And then at the end of this loop, of this for loop, not the same loop as the one there, we're gonna do set q equal new array. Okay. So basically I replaced my old queue with a new one that does not contain agent A and agent B. So we saved a reference to agent A and to agent B. We updated our array, all good. Then what do we do? We're going to do chair A, probably has a function called sit, I'm not sure. Chair A. It's not complaining, so I assume it's true. If I press F12, yep. So when you press F12, it basically opens the definition of whatever code you're looking at. So the chair device has indeed a function called sit. Okay, and the other one is called eject. Okay, cool. And then chair B dot sit agent B. Okay. So after we made agent A and B sit, then we should start the timer. So the timer joke telling. What would be the name of the function here? Let's go timer device, press F12. Start, resume. I guess start should work. I assume resume would, if you pause it and then resume, it will Yeah, start. I assume that start will. Okay, and it has different version, but I assume start will start from the beginning basically. And I could make it start just for an agent or for everybody. In this case, I want it for everybody. So I'm starting the timer. Then I'm things called success event. Yep. So when the timer is done, it will call this success event. So then I know that 1 minute has elapsed, or 30 seconds, or whatever. So I know the joke is over, and now I can eject the players. Chair a dot eject, chair b dot eject, but they're still inside the box. Then timer voting. I do not have it here, so basically it's the same except the name is going to be voting. Okay, let's do the capital V here. Timer voting dot start. This one will run for like 10 seconds or whatever. So we're gonna wait for it to be over. Timer voting dot success event wait. And when it's done, we know we need to teleport the 2 players out of the box. So we don't have teleporters yet. So let's add them. I guess we need just one. Teleporter device. Okay. And we do teleporter teleport agent A, and then the same with agent B. If we'll have to test, there might be an issue where we might need to give a little delay. I don't know if the teleporter will be able to teleport both at the same time. We'll see. Yeah, so of course we need to compile and then see our new, we have our timer voting, 20s, new teleporter, so I need to add a teleporter device here. Okay, and teleporter could be to the side maybe, whatever. It's called teleporter, that's okay I guess, and I can go to my device and assign teleporter. Okay, I'm gonna pause it for a sec. Actually, maybe I'll just finish up quick and then I'll make a new video. This one is almost an hour long already. So if I go back here, players will be seated when there are at least 2 players in the queue. I think I've done that. Anyone seated will be ejected from their chair after 1 minute. I've done that. They have 10-second timer for people to vote. Well, we have the 10-second timer, and then Joker gets out of the room, so this is done. We'll have to test, of course. That's why maybe we should have a testing. Maybe I should name it like, I don't know, in review, for instance. But this should be done. Yeah, but I don't have a voting system yet. And I still have some stuff to manage, such as, well, I guess that might work actually. Well, no, except I will need to make sure that the timer is done. Although, when we start the game, we're going to be waiting for a player to enter the queue. First player to enter the queue, we will have only 1 player, so this will not happen. Second player to enter in the queue, then we'll have at least 2, so this can happen. And what will happen is that we're going to be waiting for all these timers. So we should not look back to here again until the whole minute and 10 seconds or 15 seconds has elapsed. So actually that's pretty good. And actually there was an intermission too, so timer intermission dot success event await. Actually we should start it first. Start, and this timer intermission is 1 more. Okay. So bad. Okay, let's compile again. And timer intermission, there it is. Okay. So yeah, this might work. We'll have to test, but I'll pause the video for now and come back later.